Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and an official sports betting partner of the NFL. They are kicking off another week of action by giving all new customers a can't-miss offer right now. Bet just $1 on any football game this week and receive $150 in free bets instantly. We've got Johnny, we've got Frank, myself, the original crew, plus Saul. Hey, Saul, how's it going?
How's it going, everybody?
What's up, Saul?
Welcome in, man.
Welcome,
Man. I'm usually stuck on the Sun Show. Now it's Cardinals, baby.
You've upgraded. Let me tell you.
Now you're rocking with a winner.
All right, rocking with the best. Here we go.
Today is September 21st, guys. Some people like to call it Earth, Wind, and Fire Day.
Yes.
Saul, you were singing it a little earlier. Do you want to give us a little
No,
beat?
I'm good
Oh,
today.
my
goodness.
That should be an initiation
usually, and Shane
mandatory
knows this.
thing.
Shane actually knows this. Every Sun Show, when the countdown's going, I usually rap. But today I just,
he had some.
I gotta save that for the.
He had some fire
I don't
today.
know. I feel like we should do 3 against 1. It's initiation moment right now. You don't have a choice.
You probably should hit that.
Yeah,
you probably should hit that.
Good luck with that.
Saul's actually our boss, too, so you could very well fire all of us for making him do
That's
that.
cute that you think it's 3 against 1. But,
I trump your 3 with my ace.
Yes.
All right. Well, in honor of it being September 21st, we're going to play a little game, Do You Remember When? And take a nice little look back into Cardinals history and some of the big moments within Cardinals history. So, first, do you remember when the Cardinals played at Sun Devil Stadium? Frank, I know you did because you literally played there.
Yeah, I caught wind of it in '95 when I got drafted by the Cardinals.
that's wind.
Let me tell you something. Well, it was a hot. Well, it was definitely wind. It was hot. 1995 when I got drafted by the Cardinals in the second round. I got here, and honestly, on draft day, all I said was, God, please send me somewhere warm and a team that needs me. And within 15 minutes later, the Arizona Cardinals called me, told me, hey, I'm getting ready to draft you. David Atkins was the offensive coordinator at the time. He said, Buddy Ryan likes you. I tell you what, we're getting ready to draft you right now with the 46th pick. What do you think? I said, great, coach. I don't know much about Arizona, but I'm looking forward to it.
And then you got to Sun Devil Stadium, and you were like, man, why did I want this?
I actually love it. I mean, I love the heat. I love the desert. And coming from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, I actually love Sun Devil Stadium. I do. Voted across the league consistently by the players as one of the best playing fields to play on.
Really?
It's a flat surface. It has no bowl in it, no mound in it.
No.
It is all flat. It's all true speed. The turf is always solid. It's never. I've never seen many guys get hurt on it because of a turf situation or a sloppy field ever. Even if we came out the ASU game, it was never that. The grounds crew was always perfect. So literally, every year we'd vote on which stadium was the best, which field was the best, and Sun Devil Stadium was always in the top 5.
Wow,
love it.
It's not like Irving Stadium or Texas Stadium back in the day where they had that big old bowl in the middle of the field and players just run downhill on one side of the field.
The only thing I can think of is because my father would always complain about it is when they were in St. Louis, and that's how we became fans of the team. Bill Bidwell wanted a stadium, and they played in Busch Stadium with the St. Louis Cardinals, the baseball team. And Bill Bidwell was like, City of St. Louis, build me a stadium. And they're like, no, your team's terrible. So, find somewhere else. And he's like, all right, I'm going to Arizona, and they'll build me a stadium. And he gets here and like, no, you can just go play in this college stadium.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
until
how
2006, they had to ride with that. And then in the meantime, City in St. Louis is like, hey, Rams, we're going to build you a dome. So that's the only thing it makes me think of, because Bill Bidwell thought, I'm going to trump the City of St. Louis. I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to Phoenix, which, by the way, they've never even played in Phoenix before because the stadium's in Tempe. So this very confusing.
My first year at Southbound Community College, I was there on a basketball scholarship. I didn't know what a Pell Grant was.
What position?
Yeah, I was guard.
Okay.
Shooting guard?
Shooting guard?
Yeah, shooting guard. Yeah. Anyway, so and I got my Pell Grant money. I was like, man, that was like over $1,000. I thought I was like the richest man in the world. I was like, man, I've never seen this. And I always wanted to buy season tickets for the Cardinals. And so I took $180 of that and I went and I bought season tickets, and I sat in the south end zone. I watched my man right here catch balls, and I think he had 3 touchdowns that season. Yeah, there you go.
Football.
Manscaped is next week.
Are you having a moment right now? Is this a surreal moment for
Yeah,
you?
it's really.
No,
yeah.
actually, this is how I recruited him.
Yeah.
I used this as my pitch to get him on this show.
He
No
did.
bullshit.
No,
That's
not
exactly
at all.
what I said.
I was excited because I knew he said I was excited when Damian said that he couldn't do it, but then he said he also replaced it with my name, and then he said he knew everything he had just shared with us was exactly how
authenticity. That you'll get here, nowhere else.
One of a kind, baby.
That's right.
Tell you what, but I tell you what, there's I wish what they do in Glendale right now is what they had no choice but to do in ASU, which is literally allow the dome to be open, allow teams to come in, and from the months of September, October, feel the dry heat, burn in your throat. Like literally, if you ever come out to Phoenix and you're just jogging, and the first time you get here and you start running, your throat is going to dry out. It's going to feel like you need a gallon of water. And when you're playing football here, it feels exactly the same. Everything changes when you're on the field. There's a lot more heat on the inside. And I think being in Glendale in an AC environment, it cheats the fans, as those who remember Sun Devil Stadium. Of course, they have better seats, no aluminum. They have their own pretty much their own feel of what it feels like to be in an NFL stadium. But ASU did present something that when we played teams in September and October, I mean, we beat them because guys were cramping in the third and fourth quarter. Because
is it the same thing in Miami too with the Dolphins in Jacksonville a little bit? Do you get some of that?
You do get you get the humidity, and the humidity drains you so much. It feels like you're at least 2 to 4 pounds heavier because your clothes are soaked and wet. You know, and the fields are soggier because they're at sea level. So therefore, when you're out here, everything is dry. The field's hard. It's solid. It feels like solid turf. But when you're back east and you're playing in it, which the Cardinals will be experiencing when they're going to Jacksonville, that in itself will say that they're going to feel like it's heavier, it's harder. Their feet going to feel more lethargic. And when you're back that way, sometimes, but when the guys go to Miami, that's more that they're closer by South Beach. Yeah. And South Beach presents its own problems. What you do on Friday and Saturday in South Beach will definitely affect you on Sunday.
He says with a smile.
I'm just saying. Miami has its own problems, and on the field is one thing. But if you fatigue yourself out on Saturdays, you will be
stay hydrated all weekend.
You better stay hydrated. Pickle juice always helps in Miami.
Oh, it's true. The Eagles used to swear by it.
Yes,
they would go to Texas. They would go to the Cowboy Stadium and drink pickle juice. Yes. It was the night Michael Vick threw like 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys, and they swore by pickle juice.
Pickle juice is a hydration version. I mean, it is like nothing but sodium, and you know if you ever had a pickleback, you know what I'm talking about. It cures the hangover. You never had a pickleback?
Are you gonna?
No one on this podcast knows.
What the hell's
a
pickleback?
Wow.
Oh, you know.
How does
What?
Shane knows.
How did look? I bet they know what a pickleback
Shane,
is. How
what's
about
a pickleback then?
It's
shot?
no, it's I think it's whiskey and pickle juice, right?
Oh,
Whiskey and pickle juice, tequila and pickle juice, Tito's and pickle juice, behind it. So it helps the hangover process. Typically, when you do
tailgate
typically when you do it, you follow yourself up. When we take shots, we follow ourselves up with what? Maybe salt, lime, or some kind of other juice. And therefore, the juice is loaded with sugar, as my nutritionist would know. It's loaded with sugar. So therefore, but when it comes to this process, when you take a pickleback, that eliminates the taste, but it also brings about hydration, which allows you not to have that hangover, that major hangover effect. Now, how do I know this? I am not a drinker.
What's happening in this segment?
But I do.
Yeah, we need to get this back on the rails.
I have studied.
Okay, just
I've
so
studied
everybody
many
knows,
people. I remember when.
Frank chugged a Red Bull before this, and he is on another level right now.
Yeah, I'm a little fired up. Let's go. Let's go.
There's a fire. Yeah.
Now we need wind.
He's the fire and earth, wind, and fire right now. Okay, do you remember when U.S. Airways unveiled the Arizona Cardinals plane? You said Southwest earlier, but I think it was U.S. Airways.
I thought it was America West.
I think you're.
All we know is it's not an A-list airline.
I thought America West was the first original sponsor of the Arizona.
Well,
Phoenix Cardinals.
when I hit the Google machine up, the only thing that came up was U.S. Airways. And it had a photo of the
Is
the
that
plane.
what used to be America West though?
Maybe.
Did it look like the plane from Major League that they fly in? Because that's what I could think. Yeah, that's what I.
No, this wasn't duct tape. This was absolutely a beautiful, actually a beautiful momentum to the Cardinals and the NFL joining the NFL. And yeah, that was the original plane. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. And something that, you know, again, when you're losing, you don't always feel you don't get the winners, you don't get the spoils of victory. And unfortunately, the Cardinals got here in 1988. Remember when they got here in 1988? They were the Phoenix Cardinals at the time, and they became the Arizona Cardinals in '94, '5
You're
or something
skipping
about
ahead.
that time. But but they need to know. So I'm going to preface this moment. But they had lost so much in that window of time. And but when you start getting the spoils of victory of what it feels like to be a winner, and the team and the city starts, bringing you in and loving on you, that was one of the things that me coming here as a player, seeing, I thought that was absolutely special.
And like probably more so like just a moment of acceptance. Like team's still somewhat new. Yes, we know we're being accepted here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else remember that?
When we talked about it today, I had no memory of it.
None, zero.
Okay.
Didn't last around here.
Well, unfortunately, the only reason why is because they gave us the grand tour. They let us come out, and we went to one of the bays, one of the terminals, tarmac, and then we got on the tarmacs, and there that beautiful plane was sitting out there. Mr. B, here's this conversation. This is what brings me these remember wins, and I'll bring this into you guys so you'll be able to see it and experience the same thing. Is that Mr. Bidwell? And you're talking about when
RP.
Yeah, all right. Rest in peace, Mr. Bidwell. William Bidwell, the owner of the Cardinals at the time, when he came here, he had a lot of expectations and a lot of things that was promised. And those things didn't manifest themselves until 10 to 12 years later. But to watch him see the plane with the Cardinal bird, it was special. Dallas already had theirs. The Dodgers had theirs, and other organizations, the Yankees had their planes on, names or their emblem on other planes. But to see Mr. Bidwell in a lot of character moments was pretty special. And that to me is, as a player looking back, I can say that's why I remember when, because of watching him appreciate what had been promised him finally started manifesting itself.
Especially when he saw the Edward Jones Dome and he's like, "Damn it, I better get this plane. They're gonna be just super embarrassed when I roll up with this plane. I may not have my stadium."
I'm telling you, we rolled up in that plane many times, and it was pretty cool. People took pictures, and when you pull up at the gate, it was pretty cool, man. It really
the
was.
D-backs do not have a plane like that.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I'm serious. I rode their charter once, and I was like, that's it?
Is it like an Allegiant plane?
It's kind of like
what's
it's
the
like this
Spirit
big
Airlines?
bubble bus.
Airlines? Yeah.
It's just like this big bubble bus, and it was cool.
Now, that would be major
but
leagues,
that
right?
was just like, yeah.
After that season, I can understand.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. They probably took all the decals off this year.
Poor D-backs.
It's all right. They'll bounce back.
All right. Do you remember when the Cardinals were the Phoenix Cardinals?
I do. That was some rough watching right there, especially as a young kid watching this team. Man, like the Tim Rosenbaugh, Gary Hogaboom days. Ooh, man, you had to be a fan to stick with those teams. And I was.
That's the best part, though. Like, when you've been a fan through the rough times, that's like some of the best. Those are some of the best memories. Like, they were so bad that they're good bonding moments. Like, yeah, I do remember when, and I'm still a fan to this day.
For sure. I never thought I'd see a Super Bowl. And then when we went to the Super Bowl, it was like the weirdest emotion I've ever had. I remember to this day when Larry Fitzgerald scored that touchdown, we were 237 away, and me thinking like, oh my God, is this about to happen? And then not talking to anybody for like the next 2 weeks.
You had to avoid TV, avoid ESPN.
My God, I couldn't.
Yeah.
It just, that hurt more than anything else in my life. Period. Don't care.
Losing in like a championship game or series or whatever is always the worst because the celebration drags out for so dang long. You've got the parade, you've got this, and it's probably takes 2 weeks.
See, I think I was ignorant with a lot of people being younger that they'll just get back there. They'll just run it back, and they'll be back in the playoffs next year, and they'll get to the Super Bowl again. And here we are. It's 2021.
13 years later.
Still waiting.
Not there. Yep.
Mark Chierstin, the best thing Mark Chierstin said to us in 1998 was, look, you better take advantage of this moment because you guys will never be the same in this room. You'll never have the same feeling. And the following year, we traded so many guys. We got rid of so many guys that following year, and we were never the same. That was my only winning season with the Cardinals. And I was here for 7 years. So that 8 years, 8 years. And that just tells you, like, as a fan, those who had a chance to watch it or see it or to experience those things when it finally happened, I mean, you got to hold on to them because the league is so volatile right now. It's changing so quick and it's so fluid right now that guys are going from team to team and contract money is being I mean, it's just being diversified all across the board.
So this next one might be a little more geared towards you. I was reading up on that 98 season and found a lot of stuff about them being considered like a huge fluke, or that team that year. So do you remember the 98 Cardinals were considered one of the greatest flukes of all time? And what do you have to say about that?
We had pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
We did have the pieces. We had a lot of good pieces in place. The conversation was, could we jail after watching what we had just did the previous year, which we sucked the previous. We were decently suckers. Like we didn't.
Well, excuse me,
we didn't.
what?
We didn't stink it up bad where you couldn't. We were in every fight.
They didn't have a pass. They didn't have a pass the previous year
Yes.
of over 40 yards the entire season.
Oh my
Not
God.
one. And then the first preseason game against the Denver Broncos,
See?
Jake Plummer comes out and throws it 65 yards down the field to Rob Moore, and you would have thought they won the fucking Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Everybody in the crowd went ape
crazy.
shit. It was awesome.
See,
That-
that's
And
this
that
the
set
part.
the tone for the rest of the
Before that Super Bowl year, that 98 season was like the gold standard in Arizona for the Cardinals. I think they had one winning record in the 80s, but they didn't go to the playoffs. I think it was Neil Lomax. They were like 9-7. It wasn't good enough. So you had to go date back to the 70s before they'd been to the playoffs since then. And then when they went in 98, there was a gap between 98 to 2008, and then they went to the Super Bowl. So just the biggest outlier seasons imaginable. I think when we get frustrated, like with this current team, we need some context, especially when it comes to Michael Bidwell. He's put together the most successful run, as has Steve Keim,
Mhm.
and younger fans of this team have to recognize that, because Keim made the postseason twice in his first 3 years, and he's had sustained success outside of a couple outlier years. But that's really all Michael Bidwell. So I mean, that's when we were in it, man. I mean, you talk about decades without winning records. That's awful.
If you take 2006 to right now, so the new stadium versus
Right.
the old stadium, it's not even. It's like a completely different franchise.
Mhm.
They have far more success. Even the games that they lose, if we harken back to like the Chicago Bears, a game on Monday Night Football,
Yeah.
they lose in spectacular fashion. They're in the national news. Like everything just changed once they got to the stadium. Sun Devil Stadium, not so much. That was some of the most brutal, and they were in the thick of the NFC East.
Yeah.
They had Dallas, New York, and Washington winning the Super Bowl basically every year outside of the 49ers. It was unbelievable.
You had to watch Otis Anderson go to New York and have success there. That 2018 season that we all dread with Steve Wilkes and Josh Rosen, that's what it was like every year.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've had one outlier year, and it got us Kyler Murray.
98 was the first time I ever seen Mr. Bidwell cry.
I believe it.
That was pretty special.
Yep.
We went to the playoffs. It was 50 years, as Johnny Stats pointed out extremely well, 50 years prior to that moment before they ever seen the playoffs.
Yeah.
And after we went to the playoffs, we played Dallas. We came home, and they had a team meeting on that Monday. And that Monday, we all came in, and then all the whole entire family came in. Mike, BJ, Bill Jr., Bill Bidwell Jr., Nicole came in, and Dad came in. And literally, he stood in front of the room to address the team, and he could not get the words out of his mouth because he was crying. He was he was trembling, and he was trying to get his words out, and all he could say was, "Thank you, thank you." And I'm assuming that in his lifetime, that was the time that he'd been a part of the team since a little kid, so he'd seen a lot of losing seasons. He got Bidwell knew names, facts, stats of teams, players, a true historian. But to watch him sit and cry or that win brought him to tears because he never thought he'd see it before.
When you guys beat the Cowboys, or when you guys?
No, when we
won
beat the Cowboys. When we beat the Cowboys, that would have been our first win.
Yeah, you think about it, he's
that
on
was
all
pretty
those owner
special.
meetings with Jerry Jones, and they're just laughing him out of the room every year.
Yep.
And then for them to win in 98, I'm
It
sure
was
that
crazy,
meant
man.
everything.
It was a great moment. So that fluke-wise, no one thought we'd do it. We had to win the last 6 games, or we had to win the last 4 out of the last 6 games in order to get into the playoffs.
Isn't it crazy that in that playoff,
Yep.
they go to after they beat the Cowboys? Where did they go? They go to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And guess who the ball boy is over there?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald.
That's crazy. This is nuts.
And who's the head coach? Danny Green.
Denny Green.
Denny Green.
Yep. the one that ends up bringing Larry Fitzgerald here to Arizona. I mean, it's all
very
like,
poetic.
It's freaking awesome.
Wow, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I love connecting Larry's whole story to. I mean, there's just he has some great connections.
I'm sure I have 4 kids because of Larry somehow, some way. Like, Larry did this so I can meet this girl at this time. So that it's all Larry's fault.
Whenever we get Larry in this room, you need to make sure you tell him that's all.
6 degrees of separation. Larry
There you
Fitzgerald.
go. Yes,
There you go.
yes. All right. Remember when we had paper tickets instead of tickets on our phones because we don't have paper tickets anymore? And I certainly remember it. And I actually, I'm pro technology and pro like digital everything, but the ticket thing is a little bit annoying. Like, I do like to be able to like have my ticket, and if I want to keep it because it was a great game or something like that, now I can't even do that.
Yeah.
I remember when my dad realized we could print off tickets at our house and with the barcode on it. He was like, holy shit, Johnny, check this out. And I'm like, what do we got going here? It's like, now we got multiple copies. If we lose one, we'll have 2 of them ready to go. So yes, I'm very sympathetic to that. And what if you don't have your phone and it's not charged and you go to the stadium? Like, there's still something to be said about.
How many people have just been intoxicated? They forget they've been out for a little while. They forget to bring a charger. They forget to bring their phone.
Yeah.
I've luckily never been in that position, but for as many people that go to those games, there's got to be somebody in the crowd whose phone died and now their day's going to be ruined because they don't know how they're going to get in the game.
Well, not only that, but like the Suns make it to the NBA Finals, and I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
I would like to have that ticket because I think that would be pretty cool.
So actually, I created a shadow box of so my boyfriend and I both were able to cover the finals. So we made a shadow box of like the masks with like the NBA logo, right? Because that will probably never happen again. And we were, the pictures of us together, like whatever. And I'm like, this is such a great like thing to like hang up on the wall. And like we really wanted something in paper, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
So you had to draw out your own ticket.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The game has changed tremendously, though.
Mhm.
I mean, the technology is there, but I think there is a part of the aficionado person and the historian and the person that loves the memorabilia whose rooms are loaded with tickets that they've gotten signed or they've kept for years. And now it's so digital that you kind of miss that thing. So it will be a transition, good technology-wise, but for those who has tons of memorabilia will feel like they got cheated in the next couple of years.
I feel like we might see it cycle back. Like in 20 years, it'll be like the big thing where you get like this piece of memorabilia called a ticket. And all of a
You'll
sudden
have to
it'll be
pay
like,
extra for the hard copy. Yeah.
You got to pay extra for it.
Yep.
Yep. Or it's going to be an NFT.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay.
Shane will buy it though.
Shane will buy it. He said it.
Would I buy it?
Because you like picklebacks.
Yes.
You just strike me as a big NFT guy for some reason. I have nothing to support that, but
It's too funny. Too funny.
All right. Frank, you came up with this one. So remember when study films were VHSs and they were CDs and they were thumb drives and now they're on a tablet?
I do. I mean, it's across the board. Same thing with the tickets, right? Everything's all digital. It's right there at the speed of just a scan. Boom, barcode, you're ready to go. When we was playing, man, it was almost like a fax machine to get a doggone play out to look at a hard copy to see what was the defense, the scheme that you just saw, and then it was when we were studying film. So every week they would give us 4 videos of the opposing, well, not the team we're getting ready to play, but the previous 3 teams that they had played. So Jacksonville, Miami, and then Dallas. And then we'd see what worked against them. And then we'll get the field copy, and behind that we'll get the widescreen copy, and then we'll get the end zone copy, so we can see kind of what's going on offensively in all positions.
What a shit show.
I mean, but that's
would you use ever an overhead projector at all?
We did use that.
Okay.
We had an overhead projector, and there was many times that when it did look, technology has changed a lot in the good ways. Because I remember we had coaches, man, that had to. Had to blow onto the VHS and take it out of tape and then wind it, rewind it, try to get it back to its right original. It was so, like right now it looks it looks just really not a real sanitary position to be in. But that's literally what we were doing, and it was always with the intent. So now everything now is like it's so fast. It's downloaded into every game you want of the team you played, every defensive stat that you want of the cornerback to watch him specifically individually. You could do it, and you can just download it and watch his technique and watch his skill set. I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, it's a really good thing for the players because they're moving at warp speed information wise now.
Mhm.
And back then, it just you had to wait to get the information. You couldn't know it. So Arizona, if you got out on your first 1, 2, and 3 and out, got to the sideline, the defense ended up getting the ball back. By the time you got the information, back then you probably wouldn't even know what coverage had happened because you had to get back on the football field so fast. So everything is so fast right now, and it's good. But even for the players that they've had to make those adjustments, and they had to become more technologically savvy. Before they just we were Stone Age guys, man. We were.
I'm more shocked that that's now trickled down to the high school level. I remember like a few years back, like being at a high school football game in East Tennessee, and in the South, like they were some of the first because it's high school football is just such a big deal. And when you're dealing with small towns, like there's so much money is pumped into those programs.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember like just seeing like the first kind of setup. And at first it was just kind of the schools that had a little more money, and which I felt like wasn't really fair. But now it's just like every single high school and, across the country, I feel like has this digital setup on the side where they've got, their big screens and got their iPads and whatever. And that's crazy. The entire game at every level has changed.
It really has.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. And it's so crazy to see the evolution of that. And then you look at the players and you're like, man, that kid is really good. Like, I don't remember guys being that fast, being that smart when I was in high school. How are they doing this? And it's because they have all this technology at their disposal.
They all have like their own trainers too.
Yeah, it's nuts.
The fact that Kyler Murray has a microphone in his helmet directed directly to Cliff Kingsbury just blows my mind. The fact that he can communicate with Kyler at any point while he's on the field.
Kyler and our middle linebacker has the same thing,
the green stickers,
which is pretty cool. I mean, it will probably get to a place where every player will have it, and then that's really going to transition.
So if you're wondering why Jordan Hicks is playing 99% of the snaps, that's why, because Vance Joseph only trusts Jordan Hicks with the defensive calls.
It makes a difference, man. You got to have guys that can retain information and recall information. And you have to also not just retain it for yourself, but you have to recall it back to 10 other guys. Yeah. And you have to be able to articulate that in a way where they still feel that they understand exactly what you're saying. And then you want a guy that has a dialect situation, or he's from the South, or a northerner guy. And, this is the coach talking about. He coach say run the zip right 3 over left, or some other guy.
So when you're talking to like Yannick and Ndakwe,
it's like, bro, like what did he just say? Look. Then you listen to him and you look to the sideline like.
And you know what? You listen to Jordan talk. He's an elite communicator. I'm sure that plays a factor.
He's also a vet, knows how to disable the other helmets. So that way they don't have to use
Xavier, you can't hear anything. Go to the sideline. You're good.
Yeah, just sit this one out. I got you. Yeah.
It's funny.
I have one last thought before I move on to our last. I remember when we were talking about VHSs. I don't know if anyone else did this, but when I was a kid, my favorite thing to do with the VHSs, you said like rewinding it and stuff, I would pull the tape out. Be like, I don't know what happened.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah, you just go in and start pulling the tape out, rip it out.
I don't know what happened, but it was so enticing. I would just go.
Absolutely.
What is wrong with you, Chierstin?
I don't
know, but when you're talking about that, I just had like these flashbacks of me being a kid.
I remember the sound it would make when it would start to eat the tape. You just freak the hell out. Like, no, stop. And then you pull it out and it's just, damn it.
I never did that. I put a magnet on our TV though, and it made a huge dent. But then back then, like TVs were so expensive, we just lived with it.
Put a magnet?
Yeah, you put a magnet on the big fat TVs, and it like makes a huge like imprint.
Oh, did you know what you're doing? I wouldn't have known. Oh yeah, well that's different, Johnny.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it made like a big imprint.
God, I would have got my ass
because you have one TV
100%.
back in like the early 90s
my
in
dad
your
would
house.
like, go get a switch. I'm like,
Oh no, it was rough.
Man.
Okay, last one. Do you remember when Jerry Maguire was filmed?
I do. It was just in the 97 season. It wasn't a great. We just got Rob Moore, and it was actually the depiction of Rob Moore. in a lot of ways. Him and Cuba Gooding Jr. had the same body types. I think probably a couple of weeks later, they actually ended up on a cover of a magazine, which is pretty fly. I didn't know Rob's. Now, the funny thing about that is Rob Moore's personality is 100% opposite of Rob Tiswell. 100%. Like, it's not the same. Like, Rob is as smooth as a dude as they come. He is chill. He doesn't argue. He won't fight unless he has to fight.
He's a team guy.
I mean, team guy, never selfish, not I, me, never that, and just cool as the other side of the pillow. But the movie, how it was made and when it was made, and to be there to watch how they do the prop sets at the football field and watch also what they do in the locker room. I saw Tom Cruise come to the locker room. I thought he was 7'5", but he really was.
He's 5'7".
He's like 5 foot.
That's why I said 7'5". It's totally opposite. You think he's just mega tall, but then next thing he comes back in, but it doesn't mean anything. I mean, there was Tom Cruise.
Okay,
so
Frank,
that
you
was pretty cool.
were an Arizona Cardinal at a cool time. You get the plane.
I was. I
movie.
really was. When I look back at it, I mean, although we lost a lot at that time, and it wasn't, it was.
The perks were good.
There was a lot of good perks, yeah. It was a lot of. Arizona has the potential to be something pretty special, and there are many people, probably outside of Arizona, the state, that sees a lot of great things that can happen here. Remember, this was a place where a lot of the movie stars came to when they wasn't in California. That's why we have Paradise Valley. Right.
I mean, you got the Playboy Club. The old Playboy Club is literally right across the street. If you didn't know that,
so and then
pretty cool.
That's the part.
I'm gonna hit that on my way home during my commute.
It was open from 1968 to 1982, and it used to be a place where all the players would go to hang out with, like, Hugh Hefner and company. Like, Wilt used to go, Kareem, like all those dudes.
That's cool from like a historical perspective, I suppose. From a historical perspective to back when, but like it's not like I miss it. So. You
didn't have a chance to experience it.
Yeah,
that's the part.
Don't knock it till you try.
I mean,
right.
Honestly, like, let's be real. If you got invited to the Playboy Club, even as a woman, like, you're gonna go. It's not like it's just like a free for all. It's there. It's just
classy. It's just
going to
who's who.
It's a classy like.
Do you remember that episode of Entourage when Ari gets invited to the Playboy Mansion?
I know. That's what I'm talking
about. He told his wife, "I have to go. Historical purposes. I'm going to get the experience."
It was a pajama party.
It was.
So that's a little bit different.
It was. I remember that.
I think Tim Tebow didn't go. He didn't go, did he?
He would have.
I think he's a Playboy All-American. I don't think he went. He was in love with Jesus. I'm just saying. No, I'm a fan. I love the Lord. I love the Lord too.
I was gonna say, I think your bio says something like that.
Yeah, I love the Lord too. I probably wouldn't have won at that time when I was 10.
I mean, he was.
But if they asked me at the time, he was pretty straight laced. He was straight laced. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Protecting all his situations.
We have a very strange question, Johnny. I feel like you should answer this.
Okay.
Nick wants to know which player could fit the most pinto beans in their pocket.
What?
What kind of question is that?
Is that a current?
Is this
player?
one of your buddies, Shane, in the chat? Okay.
Which player could fit the most pinto beans in his pocket?
Like, because their thighs aren't big, so their pockets are deeper. Who's got little legs on the team?
Are they wearing skinny pants?
Moving right along.
Maybe like Colt McCoy. I don't know. Not the kicker. Not the kicker. They finally have good kickers now.
Why are you even attempting to make sense of the question?
We want to be an interactive show, but you guys make it so damn hard with these. Come on.
Who could fit the most
Johnny's
pinto
a little
beans
offended.
in their pocket?
You queued that up. I was ready for a real
producer
question.
Shane's fault.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, Shane. You got to have a better vetting
Let's
process.
get Leah in
than
here.
that.
What's going on with that?
We got better questions than that. And Nick, you could do better. Let's go, buddy.
We appreciate the engagement.
Or
absolutely.
who could fit a picture of Bruce Lee in their pocket?
Kyler Murray and his pads. Yeah.
Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better question.
That's what's up.
Did you guys see that?
No, what happened?
He had, well, it wasn't like he fit
His
something
thigh pad.
in it. Yeah, on his like thigh pad, he had Bruce Lee, which I didn't realize that. I forgot that he had purchased like a year ago, like almost like $100,000 like Bruce Lee chain. I totally forgot about that, but he's got.
It's like his idol. Yeah.
Yeah, he's all about him. Okay, guys.
Interesting.
I'm gonna already pat and brush my shoulder for coming up with this one. Do you guys remember when sports betting was illegal? Does anyone know where I'm going with this?
No, when?
I do remember that. It was a dark time, and then thankfully we've come out of it in the last 2 weeks, and we've spent a lot of money on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, Chierstin.
Yes, and remember, bet $1 on any football game this week. After using the code PHNX, you're going to receive $150 in free bets instantly, no matter what. And this is something I'm learning about. Johnny's helping me with this one. All football season long, customers can swing by the DraftKings app for same-game parlays, which allow you to combine multiple bets for a bigger payout, which is, who doesn't want that? And as always, 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Are you already looking at the same game parlays for?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, parlays are where the money's made. I mean, your risks are much greater because you got to hit on multiple things. But yeah, I like to do same game parlays with my Cardinals. I missed last weekend because I thought the Cardinals would cover. They didn't, right? I thought Kyler Murray would have 4 passing touchdowns. He didn't. I thought the defense would have a defensive touchdown. They didn't. So I got all my bad bets out of the woodshed last week, and I'm gonna hit them this week against Jacksonville.
Okay.
Things will improve for me.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank
Johnny.
you.
Absolutely.
But it's all my money now. All the DraftKings money is gone. So spend it vicariously, for me when you use the promo code PHNX.
Also, Shane, if you could help assist out and put up our graphic of our awesome Rise Up Red Sea shirt that we have up on phnxlocker.com. There it is.
That's beautiful.
Dude, that thing is fire.
Fire.
And people should be buying that.
Yes.
Because you can get it in different colors. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh.
I believe so. Yeah.
What?
6 different colors, I believe.
The red's the best, though.
Sure.
It is.
Yeah, so you can also get it for free still if you.
Yeah, you can get it for free anytime you sign up for a year-long membership. Then you can get that as your free shirt because everybody gets a free shirt when they sign up. Or you can just do the monthly and pay for it outright. So
yeah, check it out.
And I'm sorry.
That's
and there's always deals. Every week we have a deal of the week for all our members. So sometimes it's a percentage off. Wink, wink. Tomorrow there'll be a percentage off for Cardinals fans. So it's always a great time to be a member because you're always going to get hooked up with deals and specials. And yeah, check out our merch. It's going to be fire.
Awesome.
It is fire.
Here in about a year, everybody's going to be wearing our merch. I promise you that.
It's pretty fun.
That's what happened in Denver. That's what's going to happen here.
Put it out into the universe. Yeah.
It's out there.
All right. I'm almost the Star Wars saga with the Cardinals continues, and at this point, it's just carried on for so long that I'm starting to lose where it started and where it's at. But last week, Chandler Jones called Kyler Murray Baby Yoda. It kind of took off. We thought that Kyler did a Baby Yoda impression during his touchdown celebration on Sunday. Turns out, post game, he said, "That's not true. I've never even seen Star Wars," which then prompted somebody to ask Cliff Kingsbury about it. He said he was heartbroken, and growing up as a kid, he always wanted to be Luke Skywalker. So today, Christian Kirk and Marcus Golden were asked about what Star Wars character they would be, and here's their response.
I don't think Star Wars is my first choice. I'm a big Batman fan, so I think I was more of a Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne kind of guy. So maybe I'll refer to myself as a young Batman.
When I was young, I liked the Red Power Ranger, man. The Red Power Ranger, that was me growing up, and I really wasn't a Star Wars guy, but I always liked it. I always liked it, but I never really got into it. But it'll be the Power Ranger or Spider-Man for me.
He's just the best.
There are certain guys that just we get excited to hear from. Marcus Golden is always one of them. He's animated and will always be up front. And Johnny, you also can relate because you love the Power Rangers.
I did. Power Rangers, I think, was my first love growing up. I had all the Zords that combined together to make the Megazord, right? That would fight all the monsters.
Wow.
And I didn't ride with the Red Power Ranger. I rode with the green one. And he had a shield, like a gold shield, because he was first bad, and then he joined the team. And he also had a magic flute that he would play over his helmet that would also act as a dagger, and it called the Dragon Zord, who was just a cheap ripoff of Godzilla. And then I found out when I was older that all the American footage with the teenagers was shot here, and then they just ripped off all of the Zords and the Power Ranger stuff from Japan, and they spliced it together, and that crushed all of my dreams. So
no.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Man.
I also wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers as a kid.
There's no
Never saw it.
Why?
Never saw it. I am unsure because I haven't seen Power Rangers, so like I don't know what was in it.
it's
just
on
know,
Netflix if you want to give it a watch.
Well, was there maybe fighting? My parents don't like violence. I don't know.
I mean, it's pretty G-rated.
I have a long list of things I was not allowed to watch, and you'll be like Rugrats, for instance, was huge when I was a kid, and I never watched it.
We're getting a peek into why Chierstin is the way she is right now, right? Like she doesn't curse at all. Like she's very straight and narrow, and that's.
So did you
because
have
of the way
somebody that you wanted to be and emulate when you were growing up?
Yeah,
Did you have a safe word? Like, or they just lock you in the closet when you were bad sometimes? Or?
No, you know what? I had like a really strange, interest. Like things that I was interested in were like this is gonna sound super weird, but like as a young kid, I loved like the History Channel.
The History Channel? I mean,
What
the
just
history.
happened here?
I know, right? She's like,
She's
I love
laughing
the
about it.
history.
I'm just
So
interested in like ancient Egypt at like age 6.
It's nothing wrong with being a very learned person.
I love the fact that she just lost it on herself. I think
So,
Because it's
Power-
true, it's so sad.
Green Ranger, Benjamin Franklin.
You could tell she didn't want to say it. It didn't want to come out.
Channel, it makes me hurt so bad. Oh my goodness.
But, okay.
Hilarious.
Also, I don't know. I don't know if you guys watched it or not, but there was a movie. It was a series called Spy Kids, and there was one of the main characters was Carmen, and I wanted to be like her. So like when I was like 10, 11, 12, she was like the first like badass like just type of.
I saw this. I saw Spy Kids. I know exactly
Why are
what
you
you're talking about.
laughing?
Frank's just eyeballing me. I'm sorry. Continue.
Frank.
You just threw up badass.
Rude.
I was
Oh.
like, I didn't know what just happened just then. I was like, yeah,
This
you
is a
go,
safe
girl.
space to share.
You go. Oh, yeah.
I remember the Spy Kids well.
Anyway, I loved Carmen. I wanted to be like her.
She would have
I used
Stop it,
to.
Frank.
I used to vibe with Thundercats. Thundercats.
Bro, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yo, Panthro was my guy.
Bro, like right there.
Are you serious?
Bro,
Do you know what that is?
you want
I
to see
do,
my
yeah.
notes? Thundercats. He-Man and
No.
the half shit. Yeah,
Yes.
Thundercats and He-Man.
Yeah,
Shit, yeah,
Thundercats.
yeah.
Because I used to love how they would always
Come in.
try to get after Mumra.
Heck yeah.
That
Is that like a
damn
cartoon?
Mumra.
Or what is
Yeah,
that?
they
The
were
ever
80s
living.
cartoons. Saturday
Oh, yeah.
morning 80s cartoons.
Every
Thundercats,
Saturday.
Skeletor, was he He-Man?
He-Man,
Yeah.
He-Man, and then it would go from that, and then it would always be Charles in Charge, and then it would be Silver Spoons, and both those dudes are kind of wackadoodles. So it's kind of funny
Yeah, we
how
really
things have
did.
transitioned
Yeah.
in life.
History hasn't been kind to those shows.
No. Anyway, but yeah, I used to vibe with Thundercats. man.
Thundercats, right here. 100%. Run outside with a little cape on.
Yep.
Thundercats.
Yeah. Used to have the
Yeah.
lion glove with the
Oh
sword.
shit!
in
And
it.
the Thunder Tank. Remember
Yeah.
the Thunder,
Thunder
Tank?
Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Thundercats.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know any of this.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, same shit. Yeah.
Thundercats.
Just how it goes. Just exactly like that.
I can't stop crying from
Oh.
the
History Channel
thing.
drop.
We brought up the childhood, and it's just
I know,
a
right?
field of emotion.
Shane, we're gonna have to cut that clip and put it on Twitter.
Oh,
Let's go to
too
a graphic right now.
Yeah.
funny. I know. That was too funny though.
Oh, was that what you had picked? You wanted to be a Thunder? I
Yeah.
don't even know what
I mean, yeah. Well, then that window of time. Yeah.
Lino, right?
That would have been.
Lino.
Lino.
Yep. That would have been my, looking at superheroes and action figures at that time. I mean, that would have been Thundercats were like the bomb. Every little kid was running around. He-Man, I think it was more so like the songs and the music.
Yeah, yeah.
The music that came along when it came on. You wanted to. You was running in the house, chanting and running around. I'm number 4 of 6. And it's three other brothers. I got 3 other brothers, so we all were around with. I'm red, he's blue, someone's yellow, and the other one's green, and that they all had their own different colors. So I want to be a Thundercat.
So you have 5 brothers and sisters?
I got 3 brothers. Oh, it's 5. Yeah, 5. It's total 5. Oh, my bad.
He's like 3. Oh
Well,
yeah,
hold on,
5.
hold on. Well, she said brothers and sisters, so yeah, it's 5.
You said
yeah.
like there's 6 of you.
I normally
so.
only say it's like it's 3 boys. I got 3 brothers and 2 sisters, but you said it's 5. I was like, damn, she got me.
Yeah, I got you.
No, but I wanted to be Thundercat, bro.
Nice.
If I could be if I could be a superhero right now, though, I want to be Mystique, though, from the X-Men. I like this, like that shape shifting and that ability just to become any person at any time, at any window of time. I want to be that.
I would just want to be the Invisible Man.
Okay.
Creep.
No,
That's a creep move.
no, because you know what? I'm an introvert. I don't want to talk to anybody half the time, man. When you guys walk through the door, half the time I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" The other half I'm like, "I just want to look down at my computer."
So I'll remember that next
Fair
time I have
enough.
a question for Saul and I'm here.
It's not you, it's me. I promise you.
It's
that.
not you. It's
So
me.
if I was invisible, I wouldn't even have to mess with it.
I dig it. You got one now?
One that's now, my kid is into Guardians of the Galaxy. He's into Groot. So, I don't think I'd want to be Groot, but Groot's very popular in our house. So, baby Groot in the pot that dances around.
Yeah,
We have to listen to that damn song all the time. So, but somebody from the Guardians of the Galaxy probably. So, my son could be Groot and we could hang out together.
How about you, Chierstin?
Yeah, so this type of scenario gives me anxiety because I am not pop culture savvy whatsoever. So like I don't even have an answer. It was easy for me to like say like a childhood thing, but I don't.
You haven't
even
seen the
know.
Marvel movies? Or
No. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Nothing to
Go
see here.
to the
I
next
know.
segment.
All right.
I guess.
I know.
Nothing
That's why
to
it
see
gives me
here.
anxiety. I try to avoid these situations.
I understand.
Gambling
I
problem?
No, pop culture problem? Call Saul.
Yeah, I know.
There, I got in a
good.
reference there.
That was good. I like that.
Yeah,
That was really
a
fly.
pop culture reference.
Heck yeah.
It's one that I hate, but yes.
Call Saul.
All right, let's transition into talking a little bit of football since we've done very little of that. Cardinals receivers have impressed everybody and are now they have one of the top receiving rooms in the NFL. So Christian Kirk was talking to reporters today. He mentioned, and we've talked at length about just how good he's played the first few weeks and how he's in a contract year, and he just looks a lot more confident out there. And he was talking about how this is the best he's felt mentally in his entire professional career, and was just talking a little bit about the dynamic in the receiving room. Said there's all the talent in the world, but no egos at the same time, which is great. So I asked him if he could shed a little more insight into the dynamic in that room and how beneficial it is when you've got a close-knit group like that.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge because I feel like more than ever, you see guys out there just, playing more than ever and playing for each other. And not that, it hasn't been like that in the past, but you really feel that, out there on Sunday. And, it comes with just, hanging out outside of here, going to dinners, learning about one another and, how each other is off the field and, just spending time and truly just becoming brothers and creating those relationships. Because we're all we got out there, on Sunday, and for us in our room, we put so much passion and work into what we do. It's just great to be able to help one another out and see each other succeed. And when you have guys like DeAndre and AJ, who've been the best at what they've done for so long, kind of setting the standard and raising that elevation of play. It's easier for us, younger guys to emulate that and try to replicate that as well, and try to get to the same point that they are.
So we've talked about. We all just thought the show.
Shane's looking around like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. Pull it to black screen. Get it off.
Wow, we are back. I need to recollect my thoughts after that. Great recovery, Shane. We are back. So we've talked a lot about how just having, AJ Green has helped free up maybe DeAndre Hopkins, and now Christian Kirk can slide into the slot, and that's a more natural position for him. And so we talk a lot about, the on the field type of stuff, but I think it's important to note what DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green can do for the room. And then also, this team just seems like they have genuine, true chemistry. And I always feel like when you talk about a successful team in any sport and a championship team in any sport, that's one thing that they always have in common.
When I was at the press conference Sunday, Max Williams said this is the closest team he's ever been on. And I think to your point, listen, they had Fitz last year. They've subsequently replaced him with AJ Green. So I don't like to read too much into like the experience factor. I just think this position group is just better. And Christian Kirk is better suited in the slot. When they drafted him, they tried to force him to be an outside receiver because they didn't have great depth at the position. That was before Hopkins got here. And so now he's in his true natural role, and he gets to play off of Kyler Murray in his third year, popping as an MVP candidate. Hopkins doing his thing. AJ Green had a phenomenal camp and is coming along. And then you've got Rondelle Moore that opens up even more. I hate to say this, but I think we're watching right now, specifically with Kirk, his last year with Arizona, because again, they've invested so many resources. I think he's going to be a luxury that they can't afford in the offseason. I think he's going to go off for over 1,000 yards, multiple touchdowns, maybe double digits. And AJ Green's on a one-year deal. They're going to have to pay Kyler Murray. Rondelle Moore is, and we're going to talk about him later on, is leading the NFL for rookie receivers with the most receiving yards. So you've got him and Hopkins. I just think that Kirk right now, we just need to enjoy what we're watching with this entire receiving room, but specifically with Kirk, because we've been waiting for him to have his pop year, and it's happening now, and I'm super happy for him.
He was asked about potentially leaving Arizona, and he said, I understand it's a business. I would love to stay here, and I will always live here. Like, I'm not leaving Arizona if I play for another team, but it's something that's on the back of people's minds.
I mean, he's been in the system for now 3 years.
Yeah.
I think that's also contributing to this. He feels comfortable. It's not just about the leaders around him. He's been around Fitz, he's and around D-Hop last year. So the third year in the system is what I truly think is making the difference. And my man right here was talking about how he thought Cliff probably had one of his better offensive games the other day in calling a game. And I can't help but think about that clip the other night with with John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson and the trust right there, right? Like I F with my team. Like these are my guys and I trust them to do this. And I think if there's ever a point in the season where Cliff can come across that way and get that confidence and not really be too rattled down the stretch when in a tight game, that's going to take this team from here to Super Bowl contender. I think that's the only piece that's missing. And I think Christian Kirk feeling comfortable in that system and Kyler now feeling very comfortable in that system is how he's going to get there as a coach too.
I think Cliff is learning to be that way. I think he had an adjustment period too, just like players coming into the league, to where maybe he just wasn't as comfortable. But I think now where he's developed relationships and he's talked about how his relationship with Kyler is better than it ever has been as well, to where those relationships have been established and he does trust his players. So I think we are going to see that throughout the season.
Christian Kirk is definitely, he's through the process of the first 2 years, excuse me, where injuries were taking place and it was affecting him. A new quarterback, that was a young quarterback, and Josh Rosen, thank you, that just came in, and he had his own struggles. The new head coach struggles.
What's wrong?
All these things are on the table. Well, I mean, all those things are on the table for him, along with injuries.
Yeah,
and then of course, like you said, he wasn't an inside guy; he was an outside guy, and he had to keep trying to prove himself. And nothing was gelled. Nothing looked good for him. Yeah. Now he's in a position where he doesn't have to be the guy specifically, but he can go out and he can do exactly what he needs to do and what's asked of him. I always thought he had more talent than was showed.
Yes,
I always thought the NFL is a place where I can throw 12 balls to you, and I can throw 3 balls to you. You might catch 7, but you'll catch the 3 I threw to you. You're going to get the conversation piece because your 7 might have turned to 110 yards, and your 3 were great plays and whatever, but it was 97 yards, and it wasn't the same. And I think Christian's in a position right now where the ball seems like, or the position he's in right now, they can throw the ball to anybody, and everyone can make something happen. And he feels free to be able to do that. A new contract, I say, hey, guys always look great in contract years. So he could be in a position where contract year shows up and he can walk away with 57 catches for over 1,000 yards and 7 to 8 to 12 touchdowns and fall right into a position where next year he becomes a $15 to $25 million guy.
He's going to be an $8 million player next year. I have no doubt about it because you think about eight-figure player next year because all of his catches are highlight catches. Anybody, casual fans, I mean, like, couldn't you just see, like, Jacksonville, for instance, next year with all this money to spend and Trevor Lawrence on a rookie deal, like, hey, Christian Kirk, here's $15 million. What's he going to say? He's not going to say no to that.
He's gone.
So what I will say is Cardinals are projected to have, I know it's early, 3 1,000-yard receivers. Who was the last team to do it, Saul?
Ooh. Damn.
The Rams?
The Rams. Yeah.
No. Arizona Cardinals. 2008, Anquan Fitz and Steve Breston.
That's right.
Can they have 3 this year? We'll see.
I hate that we're already talking about Christian leaving. I always feel like it just means a little. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but to me, it does. When you've got a hometown guy, I feel like you want to keep him. I mean, the dynamics specifically with Saguaro High School having, multiple Cardinals players, I feel like that means a little something. Not that you're going to like overpay a guy or, change the dynamic of a team because you're trying to pay this guy just because he's a hometown guy. But I feel like it means something.
I mean, we got to think about the other hometown guy too, because I think he's going to play a factor when his deal comes up in about a year, and that's Byron Murphy. And Byron Murphy, the way he's playing right now,
and he's one of one.
He is yo. Yeah, you're gonna pay him.
Here's a problem with Christian Kirk, and I love Christian Kirk. He is too inconsistent, or has been, and that's why they continue to draft receivers in the second round. If Christian Kirk had been doing this the last several years, Rondelle Moore probably wouldn't be here, or Andy Isabella, and he probably would have gotten paid already. Yeah. But they've flushed the position room because he's been too inconsistent. Now he's living up to expectations. And it's like, well, we've got Rondelle Moore's making like no money compared to what they're going to have to pay Christian Kirk. So they would have loved to have extended Christian Kirk maybe a year ago, but he just hasn't been consistent enough. To end last year, over the final 8 games, he had 250 yards. He disappeared, and the offense disappeared too. So I'm with you. I think he's going to have a huge year, but it's going to be poor timing.
Let me ask you this. Is there anything on the DraftKings Sportsbook app that involves Christian Kirk that you could create a parlay with?
You absolutely could. So you could pick him to have an anytime touchdown, which you can put money on, and there are odds for Christian to have a touchdown at any point against Jacksonville. And there are big-time odds over plus 1,000. Shane will have to keep me honest here, that he's the first touchdown of the game, and that's where the real money is. So if you're feeling frisky with Christian Kirk on Sunday and you think he's going to reach the end zone first.
Did you word that right?
Yeah, frisky.
If you're feeling advantageous with Christian Kirk on Sunday,
adventurous,
you can make some big money on DraftKings.
All right, let's get into our final segment. Winners and losers from week 2 or within the last week. Who wants to go first? Okay, Frank.
I'm gonna shoot my shot. I think I like my winner of last week's football through the NFL was the AFC. Just the entire conference. I think the teams that they played, that put together between the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Titans going off and smacking up the Seattle Seahawks, I thought that was crazy. But to watch Pittsburgh Steelers, lose to the Raiders, but watching what Raiders had did the week prior to that, I think the AFC just as a conference as a whole just looked better. They had better teams fighting against each other. It was a lot more excitement between those teams fighting. And, I mean, I could pick player after player and play after play, but just the AFC and the competition that was on the table and the closeness of the games were really, really special. I thought it was good football.
I'll go with our brothers up in Colorado, the Broncos, being 2-0 right now. Hey, that's a good football team. Not great, not outstanding. Teddy Bridgewater cleans up a lot of the messes that they have with Drew Lock, and I know there's a lot of Drew Lock stands out there, but Shane's being one of them. But hey, they're 2-0, and they're looking to keep it going, and I think that's my big winner of the week.
I'll go with the number 1 fantasy football pickup this past week. Oh. And he plays for the Cardinals, number 4, Rondelle Moore, who, again, leads all rookie receivers in receiving yards. I had an opportunity to watch him in person, of course, on Sunday. They have not had a player like this caliber player. I mean, like, the only thing that's comparable is, like, kind of rookie season Anquan Bolden, but they're different players. and you and I talked about this yesterday. It's like if Darren Sproles played wideout. That's what he is.
Yeah.
And he's going to sleepwalk his way to 1,000 yards in this offense. My only concern is usage over 17 games. But man, oh man, Steve Keimy's had some misses in the second round, but this does not look like one of them. He is a star for this team already.
Can't say enough good things about the young rookie. My winner is Aaron Rodgers because there was so much negativity and talk surrounding him, especially after it, heading into the season, and it carried into week 1 for him about not wanting to be on the team and possibly checking out. And it was against the Lions, but they were able to get a win. I feel like that probably silenced some of the noise surrounding him and that team. And he also, I don't know if you noticed the long hair look. He is growing that out for a Halloween costume, which I found was very impressive. That is dedication.
What Halloween costume is it?
He did. You'll have to wait till Halloween to find out.
To be determined.
I thought you were going to say you're really into like man buns, and that's why.
Not at all.
Okay.
No, not at all. I just can appreciate the dedication that he has to Halloween, and he had an awesome post-game interview with a Spanish-speaking reporter for ESPN, and it was hilarious. And he was talking about wanting tequila, and it was great. So I just felt like he was a winner after this week, and yeah.
All
right, Frank, who's your
my loser is Carson Wentz. Just can't get right.
He sprayed both of his ankles.
I mean, just can't get right. Just
that is the saddest thing by far that I read all week was that he sprained both his ankles.
How do you sprain both your ankles?
You get tackled crazy. Like you got AD missed the 22, 21 sacks who don't care about how he hog-tied him in that tackle with all intents and purpose to bring him down. And but just the storyline behind his name, everything they talked about, leaving Philly, going to the coach. Oh my God, he's got Coach right. Oh, he's going to be this and that. And just unfortunately, from one of the most talented quarterbacks we've seen, from a young start from one situation of getting tearing his ACL, from trying to make a great play, and then after that, just every season just has not been good for him. And I think that is, and everyone believes in him. Every conversation is a hopeful conversation about what he brings to the table as a leader and as a winner. And I feel bad for my man because he just one of those guys that just can't get right.
So close. Ever since he tore that ACL, he's
never been
the same again.
Yep.
My loser of the week is it's hard to pick on a rookie. But damn, Zach Wilson, you made it real easy this week. My man had a horrible
from the Jets,
very bad day up there in New York. And it doesn't help that his predecessor that went to Carolina is now 2-0 because famous Jameis can't keep his fingers out of his mouth when he throws football. So, that's my loser of the week. Kind of a co-loser situation there with Jameis and Zach.
It worked though.
So I kicked around my loser before the show and was downvoted. I said it was Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers, and these two gentlemen shamed me, and so now I'm just going to say the Sixers organization, I guess, Ben Simmons, he's got some stuff going for him. I just think that they've put themselves in a position, I know this isn't a basketball show, but it bears repeating, they thought after he was missing and refusing to take wide open layups in the Eastern Conference Finals that they were going to pub up his value in the offseason, and now he's not returning his phone calls. They're only contacting him through his agent, Rich Paul. It's hilarious because the franchise that was all in on tanking and trusting the process now has this asset that they're probably going to trade for pennies on the dollar.
I think it's funny what you saw what Kendall Jenner said.
No, I didn't see that.
Right? About Ben Simmons, her ex?
She said, the Sixers should have me in the front office because I know how to trade Ben Simmons for a superstar.
She did not say that.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, look at the Instagram.
That's one of the greatest lines. That's a great. She didn't write that.
I swear I thought that's what happened.
No way.
Her Instagram?
No, I don't think she said that. I think somebody tweeted that and it went viral. I'll double check though. I'll double check
maybe
that.
I got that wrong.
What, my response would be like,
fire.
That's pretty
a fire
nice.
tweet right there.
Yeah.
Put that on a T-shirt.
I'd be like, I got drafted by your whack ass, and now I'm trying to build you up, and now look at you. You act like I did something wrong by you. You tripping. Anyway, that would be who's your loser right now?
All right, my loser, it's the Saints, even though they had nothing to do with it. But the Superdome was on fire today. Some power wash thing exploded. I double checked. Everyone's okay. Like one person had minor injury, so I made sure that nothing truly serious happened. But that was trending on social media today, just a burning stadium. So I'm just gonna say the Saints, maybe the city of New Orleans. They're losers.
You got some bad juju right now.
They do. It's a lot going on.
Oh man,
right
I
now.
shouldn't say the city. Then you're right.
Yeah,
You're
the
a
city-
loser,
yeah.
City.
Yeah.
You're a loser.
Yeah,
I don't care that you
that-
just went through a
that was
hurricane.
really
you guys are
insensitive.
losers. Like,
Just
what?
the Saints.
No,
We're
come on
keeping
now.
it to the Saints.
Man,
My
so much
original
aggression.
plan.
Maybe it's just the seat. Maybe Espo and you just like angry.
See,
all the
that's it,
time.
man.
Oh, it's
a lot of power in that seat.
I said it before. I thought about it. Now that I'm thinking about it, that is very insensitive of me. It's just the Saints, just the team.
Just the
All right, let's get it light real fast. There's some fire.
There you go.
All right, time for that initiation, Saul.
Everybody's been
Do
telling
you
me since they've
remember?
made
There you
this
go.
graphic that my head is just
21st
too
of
big.
September.
Oh, now, nice.
There you go. All right, let's wrap this show up, baby.
All right, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media, PHNX_sports. Follow us on the Twitter machine, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.